So I just wanted to get in touch with you guys again to let you know something I read in a magazine recently that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to let you guys know about this. So there's a really good magazine called What Doctors Don't Tell You. And what I love about it, this one in particular, was How I Beat Alzheimer's. Um, the simple gift that gave one man back his brain. So I'm not sure if I've said before, I think I did in one of my previous videos, that I call autism baby Alzheimer's, because it really did seem like that's what had happened to my son, the whole regression. I do definitely have a little bit of nature and a little bit of nurture and these things, because I know I saw my little boy turn in to the devil spawn after he'd been just an angel, and it was all because he had these toxins hitting his brain. If you think about, things like Phineas Gage, where the guy was an upstanding foreman for the railroad, and he got a railroad spike, straight through his, I think, through his cheek and the back of his head, and it killed basically his frontal lobe, and he suddenly became this guy that nobody wanted to be around, couldn't keep a job, was, cursing and drinking, and just really turned horrible. And that is what it seems like has happened, is that, something in the brain has been damaged, and now they're having to rewire around it. These, at least with my child. When I worked for Dr. Peter Osborne, we were reversing things like bipolar and schizophrenia, because they were coming from really metal toxicity and yeast. And if you look, like Huffington Post has something about yeast overgrowth causing bipolar and schizophrenia, and even things like major gout episodes can trigger a manic episode, which I think happened in my case that I'm eyewitness to. So not for me. I have ADHD, so I have the things that go along with that. Obviously, with my videos, you can probably see the scatterbrainness and the disorganization that's involved with that, a lack of time consciousness. Whereas my autistic son seems very time oriented. And anyway, so all of this stuff, I think Alzheimer's, autism, bipolar. Yes, I think there's a hereditary factor, but I think the hereditary factor isn't necessarily genetics. Can be like maybe a methylation issue, like you don't have the proper enzymes to cleave gluten. That's just a gluten sensitivity. Just don't eat gluten. Just like some people, they aren't capable of processing coffee, and some people aren't capable of processing alcohol very easily. And I think you just work with your body instead of, and that's why vaccines are so dangerous, because what you're doing is giving a cookie cutter to everyone, and there's no one size fits all. Let's move on to this article. This is talking about silica, and I know in the chelation video I've done before, we talked about how cilantro was the only thing that crossed the blood-brain barrier to be able to remove aluminum, which is what my son has, is aluminum poisoning. And this guy, he was 53 years old and was, becoming, an Alzheimer's, basically Alzheimer's was happening to him. He actually says this: we're in an age of aluminum, and he found what's called the water solution. And this is what he says. Let me read it to you. Exley's team, which is this doctor that they mentioned earlier on in the article, has been working for decades on how to remove toxic aluminum from the body once it gets in. In his studies with aluminum-intoxicated salmon more than 25 years ago, Exley had a eureka moment when he discovered that the mineral silica in water bound to toxic aluminum and removed it from poisoned fish, which then recovered. Since then, Exley has demonstrated that drinking 1.5 liters, about 50 fluid ounces, of mineral water high in aqueous silica content, such as Volvic. I don't know if you've seen that before. It's the glass bottled water. That's common with a nice little silver top. It's pretty big. It's yay large. Or Fiji water. an hour before 30 minutes workouts increase aluminum excretion in sweat up to tenfold, and drinking just 1 liter of silica-rich mineral water, or 34 fluid ounces, increased aluminum excretion in the urine of Alzheimer's patients. What's more, after just 3 months of doing this, 3 of 15 patients showed cognitive improvements. And even like an infrared sauna, or if you can't get the child to sweat by exercising, if you have access to an infrared sauna, then by all means do that. I mean, that's well documented in detoxification. Sources of toxic aluminum. This is also something that you want to do. Stop adding aluminum to your child, or you. Don't cook with aluminum, because anything acidic, I use a paper filter for my coffee because there's a little metal filter, but if you don't let the acids touch the metal in the coffee filter, the coffee will go through not picking up the metal and putting it into your drink. So you don't want to add it even if it's oral. And the same thing will happen if you have tomato on aluminum or lemon or whatever that's acidic, it'll pick up the aluminum and synthesize it into your food. Watch your medicines. Medicines contain aluminum these days, especially antacids. Heartburn drugs like proton inhibitors. So a lot of elderly people and a lot of autistic kids are on because they happen to have a lot of acid reflux. They will give them a pill, Nexium, and that has a lot of aluminum in it. So guys, if you can do something else, like I noticed with my reflux and my ex's reflux, and my mother's, probiotics and having a low glycemic diet, or essentially kind of like a zone diet. I did the zone diet for a while. It was real popular back in the day. Jennifer Aniston was on it. And it's basically just, I call it my Bible diet. Not too much carbs per protein, so everything kind of in a balance. So your plate has about 30% of your calories are from fat, 30% from protein, and about 40 from carbs. And that has to do with anything that you put in your mouth, just so that your blood sugar levels don't raise, and then it doesn't tip off your hormones, and then just kind of cause a cascade of hormonal issues. Buffered aspirin has it. Vaccines. Aluminum is now has replaced mercury in childhood vaccines. However, some things like the flu shot still contain mercury as well as aluminum, which is really, really bad together. Allergy shots. So there's a lot of kids who are allergic, who are autistic and getting allergy shots. Any kind of injection will have some kind of metal in it. So I would highly suggest even B12 shots. Find a different route, either a transdermal or an under the tongue or whatever it is that you can find that isn't an injection would be far preferable to an injection. It's in your pantry. It's in baking powders. Let's see, antiperspirants, cosmetics. That's a big one. So make sure like your lotions and stuff, and there are nanoparticles in cosmetics, so they really absorb really well. So that was all of this, sources of aluminum in this particular magazine. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, so I just wanted to make that video for you guys. Great magazine if you can pick it up, and really, what we're talking about with mental illness, including autism, ADHD. I mean, I'm not taking myself off the hook here, guys, because I know, there's a Feingold diet. I don't remember if I've mentioned it before, but if you can look up the Feingold diet, it's something that I kind of put myself on and my son on because it's something very common with ADHD. It has to do with salicylates and phenols and food coloring, and the basic tenet that you're low in sulfates. So if you eat anything that makes your body require sulfates to process it out, without harming the body, then you're gonna not be able to carry out body processes that the sulfates required for, like thinking. So I think I did bring it up before. So, I've had episodes where I ate the wrong thing or a bunch of the wrong things containing salicylates, grapes, cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, and I kind of had a meltdown for no reason. So those are the kinds of things that, now that I can identify them, I shore up within myself. I'm taking my probiotics. I'm doing my best, and that's all you can do. And when you see somebody who is suffering from um, mental illness, you're dealing with someone who may not be aware of what it is that's triggering that. So be gentle with them. I can't claim that I was, but I tried with my ex. Um, and then there are some people that just don't want to see it. I know my son is still kind of denying a lot of things. So you need all the help that you can get. And this really is something that's tenable. It's something that you can fix and something that you can help. Talk therapy is great. ABA is great. All these outside um, helpers are great, and I'm not saying anything that they aren't helpful. And even if you need a little bit of medication to put a band-aid on the problem until you can figure yourself out, that's fine. But recognize that those are not the root cause, and that a lot of these other things need to be taken care of in order to not need that band-aid anymore. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it, subscribe for more. I have another one on, again, back to healing the gut. This magazine also had a great article on lectins, so I need to do a little research before I really piece it together and put it out for you, and share with people that you think might benefit from it. Thanks so much and have a great day.